New hope for two sisters fighting for their lives, battling rare Batten disease. Their dad, a famous Hollywood producer, on a quest to find a cure, and this morning there may be a breakthrough. ABC's Rebecca Jarvis spoke exclusively to the family. Good morning, Rebecca.
Hi, Robin. Good morning to you. The Gray family this morning is in the fight of their lives, racing against time to save their two little girls, Charlotte and Gwenyth, and to bring hope and help to all the other children and families battling this rare disease.
Get up, Daddy.
We first met the Gray family a year ago. Daughters Charlotte and Gwenyth, then only 4 and 2 years old, diagnosed with an extremely rare brain disorder called Batten CLN6.
One of the scientists had said, prepare for wheelchairs and blindness. There's nothing you could do.
Doctors telling their parents the girls would never live to celebrate their 12th birthday.
This disease is relentless and brutal.
In fact, it's a disease so rare that experts predict less than 10 children in the world are currently living with it.
You believe in miracles? Yes!
But perhaps it's their dad's work history, producing movies that showcase the art of winning against all odds, that prepared them for this race against time.
That's impossible.
There was no treatment, so we had to create that opportunity.
An opportunity that began by establishing the Charlotte and Gwenyth Gray Foundation, funding research to find a cure.
Most of the doctors said if they could do it, it was probably 5 to 6 years away, which would have been too late.
We were grateful. All the stars kind of aligned for us.
Hollywood stars lined up too.
You know, I think we've raised $3.5 million.
Never give up.
Yeah, never.
And so in spring of this year at the Nationwide Children's Hospital in Columbus, Ohio, Charlotte and Gwenyth became the first patients in an FDA-approved clinical trial that could save their lives.
It's one treatment, one injection into the lower lumbar region.
They're missing a gene. They put the gene back in. It's that simple.
For now, the Grays are playing a waiting game, hopeful that 5-year-old Charlotte will continue to improve.
She's more engaged. I think the vocabulary has increased a little bit.
She's obsessed with Frozen. The other day, she was laying in bed listening to the soundtrack, and she said, clearly, stronger than 1,000 men.
Stronger than 100 men.
That gives us a lot of hope, and it also shows us that she's in there somewhere.
Do you feel like you're witnessing a miracle?
We're certainly praying for one, and counting on one.
A lot of us saw, Rebecca. That was a beautiful, beautiful story. Rich Besser is with us as well. Let's first of all explain to people Batten disease.
Yeah, so this is something that can hit during childhood. It can also hit in some forms as adults. The cells in our body are really incredible. They're constantly turning over and rebuilding. But to do that, there have to be enzymes in cells that allow us to break down proteins and other material. In Batten disease, those aren't working. So we're not able to recycle proteins and other things very effectively. It's an inherited disease, and as this material builds up in the cells, it can cause problems with nerves, neurological function, that eventually, if you don't take care of this, can be fatal.
Well, yes, and at a relatively young age.
That's right.
That happens. It seems like the girls are doing well, Rebecca.
They are the sweetest little sisters, Robin, and it was incredible to spend the day with this family. The little one, Gwenyth, she danced throughout our shoot. She sang. She loved the camera. Charlotte is in this process of rebuilding, retooling her brain, getting back to where she started.
And it's all about this gene therapy?
Yeah,
Rich?
I mean, gene therapy, it's one of the most exciting areas of research. It's being looked at for so many different things. And the idea is, can you insert a gene back in those cells so that they work again? You know, this is an early study, it's a safety study, but what they want to see is, can you turn these cells back on and reverse this? But, you know, we were hearing how few patients have this particular condition. What the family was able to achieve in terms of identifying patients and getting funding, it's just so inspiring.
And we're going to talk about that in a moment. I had the rare opportunity and the privilege to spend time in Sioux Falls, South Dakota, a research center there, the Sanford Research Center. That's Dr. Pearson. They're doing some stem cell therapy. I met a family going through Batten disease, much like the family you spent time with. And FDA approval is so vital, these clinical trials, and the fundraising. How's the
Yes.
family doing with that?
So they need to raise another $1 million by October. They told me they're confident. They told me the gratitude they have for this outpouring of support that they have seen from people they've never met before all over the world to Hollywood. They're so grateful for it, but they are in a race against time for both the medicine as well as the funding for this. $1 million by October is what they need.
And sometimes people feel, okay, it's a rare disease, there should be funding with another disease. That is not the case, because so many times, I learned this in Rome at the conference that I attended, so many times with rare diseases like this, you're able to find something easier to help not only that disease, but other ones as well.
Yeah, I mean, what they can learn from this study will help other gene therapy studies to understand, how do you get this to work? How do you get it to work for the long term?
And this is what this family and the family I spend time with, they just want all families to be able to be exposed to this.
Exactly.
Thank you for bringing this, Rebecca. Rich, as always. Amy, David, Lara.
What a great story.
How
Pulling for
inspiring.
those little girls, right?
We are. Thank you, Robin.